Good evening and welcome to Legal Talk, the talk show brought to you by the law offices of O'Donnell, Weiss & Mattei, your life, your business, your law firm. We're at 41 High Street in Pottstown. We're also at 347 Bridge Street in Phoenixville. Our phone number is 610-323-2800 or 610-917-9347. And just as importantly, folks, please make sure you bookmark us on your computer. We're at www.owmlaw.com. Welcome tonight. My name's Dave McGay, and I've been an attorney with the office for many, many years. And I'm joined tonight by Rebecca Hobbs to my immediate left. Rebecca, thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
And to her left, Kathy Martin. Kathy's been with the firm for...
Almost 14 years.
I was going to say 10, but it feels like 14. Man, it is 14. Maybe it feels like 15.
Feels
Rebecca's been with the firm...
For 3.
3. Okay, feels like 4. And I've been with the firm for a long time. But guys, thanks for joining me. Tonight, folks, well, before I jump into Kathy and Rebecca and their area of practice, this year is our 10th anniversary in Phoenixville, at our Phoenixville office at 347 Bridge Street. For those Phoenixville viewers, that's the old Shanneman Lumber Yard, which became the Borough Hall fairly recently. We've been there since January of 2006. January 2006. And we've been at 41 High Street since, I believe, the summer of 1955. 55, so it's our 61st year. Tonight we're going to talk, folks, with Rebecca and Kathy, we're going to talk about elder law issues, special needs issues, elder law issues. And Kathy and Rebecca are special guests, but I'm going to make you wait to the second half of the show to hear why they're special guests and why they have of tonight's show and why they have a special role with the office. But first, let's start. I'm going to skip over Rebecca and go right to Kathy on this. Kathy, elder law. What does it encompass? Just generally the areas, because I have a feeling that many, if not all, of our viewers. Well, some of our viewers are probably thinking, I don't need elder law. Many of them are thinking, what the heck is elder law? And I bet you almost all of them, when they hear your description, is going to say, oh, yeah, I need that. Or I have an aunt who needs that, or my grandfather needs that. What do you think?
Okay. Elder law is, I usually tell people it's fancier estate planning. It's focused primarily on people who are older, but we also deal with people with special needs.
Okay.
And we try to, a lot of times, try to keep people in their homes, make sure that they're ready to stay in their home, or if they do need to go to a facility, that we can help them find the money to do that. It encompasses way more than that, but it's a lot of times people need that information to make sure that they're doing the right thing.
Okay. I hear, or I've heard you guys, meaning the two of you, talk in the office about things such as abuse or neglect. Do you guys run into that, Rebecca, at all?
Yeah, and I think that's one aspect of elder law, is being able to recognize those situations where that might be a concern. And so when we're meeting with a client, that's certainly part of that analysis that we do when we first meet with them.
Right.
And to be able to recognize where there may be some financial abuse going on, where there may be some neglect, and then to give the family the resources they need to deal with that situation.
And Rebecca, wouldn't that also, and I'm just sitting here thinking as you guys are talking, many, many examples of different matters that the two of you have handled. When you mentioned, I think you said financial abuse? Financial abuse. In the context of power of attorney, I know I've heard you guys talk about that a lot. Just give us a little thumbnail sketch of what kind of financial or financial abuse or power of attorney exercise that you get into.
Right. So a financial power of attorney is a great tool that everyone should have if they're over the age of 18. So everyone should have a financial power of attorney. With a power of attorney, you are appointing an agent and trusting that agent to be able to handle your finances and manage your money for you. Unfortunately, sometimes the wrong people are appointed as the power of attorney, And when that happens, that wrong person can make bad choices, such as gifting sums of money to themselves, or
Paying their own bills?
Yeah, paying their own bills, paying their mortgage off, doing all sorts of things that aren't for the best interest of the principal, which is the person that has executed the financial power of attorney. And so we, as elder law attorneys, have an eye towards that, and we can recognize those situations and help guide the client first to make sure they make good choices on who to appoint as their agent under their power of attorney, but then also help them and guide the family when they get into those situations.
Okay. Kathy, how about some public benefits you approach or you seek or you for which you apply as an elder law attorney? Give us a little thumbnail sketch of that.
Well, Rebecca and I both deal quite a bit with all kinds of insurance, like Medicare is a common one.
Okay.
And a lot of people have a misconception of what Medicare would pay for. So we also deal with Medicaid, which is medical assistance in Pennsylvania, and that helps pay for nursing home care.
Okay.
It's a complicated system. I've often had people ask me, well, where can I go on the internet and find out how to apply for Medicaid? And you really can't. The internet's a wonderful tool, but there are some limits to it. And it's very important, especially in a situation where there's a husband and wife, and one goes in the nursing home. We want to protect all we can for the one who stays home.
Okay.
Because we've had the unfortunate situation of people coming up to us too late, and they've lost money that they could have protected legally. It was a good
in a
way to
husband
do
and
it.
wife situation where, let's say, the wife has to go into a nursing home, or the husband says, I can't take care of her any longer. That husband and wife couple, or maybe in my scenario, the wife was, say, incapacitated. Well, I
Right.
want to talk about capacity in a minute, so don't let me forget. But that husband and wife, or the husband in my little scenario, can come to you, Kathy, and sit down and share with you what? Their assets, their income, expenses, and you can come up with a plan
Yes.
on preserving as much of their assets as
Yes.
possible.
And when it's the type of planning, I like Medicaid planning anytime, but when we do a husband and wife, there's so much we can do, like protect the house for the spouse that stays home.
Yeah, but I thought the house just goes to the nursing home if my
No.
wife goes into a nursing home.
No, it's a misconception
Okay.
that people have. There's a lot of misinformation out there, and this is something that we can do to help protect the spouse that stays home,
Okay.
who was often the caregiver until that point and then just can't anymore.
Right. And that makes sense. I don't want to get too far in the weeds because I want people to call you guys, but it makes sense that in my scenario where my wife needs nursing home care and I can't care for her anymore at our home, it makes sense that our house just doesn't go for her care because I need a place to live, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's way more complicated and deeper than that.
Right.
But folks, I think I see a lot of light bulbs going off over people's heads because they didn't realize that there are a lot of ideas or, issues out there in their own lives that they need to talk to you guys about.
Right.
Rebecca, I mentioned a second ago, I wanted to ask you about, capacity. That's something else you guys get into.
Right.
Let the viewers know, what are you talking about? What am I talking
Yeah.
about when I mention capacity?
Right. So as we all age, certainly there are going to be, with our minds, a gradual decline sometimes with people in their capacity, whether it's various medical conditions that you get, and your ability to rationalize, make decisions regarding, financial choices, to make decisions regarding your health. That all changes, and we need somebody there to be able to help us and guide us in those situations. So things like Alzheimer's disease or Parkinson's that has some dementia that comes with it. And just as a gradual aging process, oftentimes there's some decline with capacity. And as elder law attorneys, we're in tune with that, and we're able to help clients maximize their capacity planning by making sure that they have power of attorney documents in place. And planning ahead is really key, because having documents like that in place are important, because if you don't plan ahead and have those tools in place and capacity becomes an issue, oftentimes we need to move forward with a guardianship proceeding, which is much more limiting for the client.
But the whole timing of this is very important. I know, Kathy, you and I have worked together on clients. Rebecca, you and I have worked together on clients with families whose loved one is sliding. And that's the first thing we ask or look at is, does that person have the capacity to sign a legal document, either a power of attorney and a will? And there's different capacity standards for both. Again, I don't want to get too far in the weeds, but folks, if you have a loved one who needs a power of attorney and or a will, how does that phrase go for my real estate? Oh, time's of the essence. Folks, you really, not to alarm you more than you already are, but you really need to talk to Kathy and or Rebecca about your loved one's capacity, and not just sit and wait. It's not an easy thing, but waiting's not the answer.
Right.
Okay. In the last couple of minutes here before we break, let me just sum up. We talked about public benefits. Kathy talked about folks, legal capacity. Rebecca just talked about estate planning. Kathy talked about wills, powers of attorney. And administration of estates, Kathy, that's a big part of your practice, big part of Rebecca's practice, big part of our practice as an office. That's an integral part of elder law.
It is. It's very important to think about that, and that we do the right thing for people while they're alive, so that their estate administration goes easier after they pass.
Okay.
And it's something that is scary for people when a loved one dies. They don't know what to do, and this is something we can help them through the whole process.
Okay, good. Now, in the last couple of minutes here, last 2 minutes or so, I've heard the phrase NAELA before from both of you, N-A-E-L-A. Kathy, what the heck is NAELA? Why is it important for tonight?
It's the National Academy of Elder Law Attorneys. We're both members. We're also members of the Pennsylvania Academy of Elder Law Attorneys.
Let me guess, PALA.
Yes, got it.
Okay, all right.
Which is a division, but it's the local division.
Okay.
PALA does a lot of work with the laws in Pennsylvania and helping the laws be better for older people.
In other words, a lobby group.
They are. We have our own lobbyist.
Okay.
And it's a very important thing for Rebecca and me, because we have other elder law attorneys that we can talk to and find out when we have a question that we can't necessarily answer.
Okay. And it also, I would think, would keep the two of you on the cutting edge of legal developments in the area of elder law, the stuff we've talked about here this evening so far.
Correct.
And powers of attorney changes. I know we're taping this in the, summer of 2016? Feels like summer in here. 2016, but there's all kinds of changes happening with powers of attorney. And the PALA organization and the NAELA organization keeps the two of you on the cutting edge of that stuff.
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
great. Folks, we're going to break here now, and you're watching Legal Talk brought to you by O'Donnell, Weiss, and Mattei. I have Kathy Martin and Rebecca Hobbs, and I'm Dave McGay. We're talking about elder law issues. We've talked about what is elder law. We've talked about the different areas of elder law that I bet you folks, most of you didn't even realize, fell within that category, and for which we can provide you help. And then we talked about the different organizations. In the second half of the show, we're going to talk about special needs training, or special needs planning, excuse me, not training, and how it very well may, unfortunately, apply to some of our viewers. And then last but not least, I teased at the beginning that Kathy and Rebecca hold a special role with the firm, and they're my special guests tonight, but you need to wait to the end of the show to see why. Thanks, folks. You're watching Legal Talk. We'll see you on the other side.
There are many reasons people join AAA and renew their membership year after year. In addition to the peace of mind of emergency roadside service, AAA membership includes expert travel planning, exclusive discounts, and more. AAA members also get exclusive Show Your Card and Save discounts at participating retail merchants and can save money on theme park tickets, luggage, and travel accessories at the East Penn Travel Store. Join today and start taking advantage of all AAA East Penn has to offer. And visit us on the web at www.aaa.com.
Welcome back to Legal Talk, the talk show brought to you by the law offices of O'Donnell, Weiss, and Mattei. your life, your business, your law firm. We're at 41 High Street in Pottstown, where we've been for 61 years. We're also at 347 Bridge Street, where we've been for 10 years. So it's our 10th anniversary there in Phoenixville, Bridge Street, Phoenixville. OWMlaw.com, and it's 610-323-2800 or 610-917-9347. My name's Dave McGay, and if you're just joining me tonight, or joining us on the show, tonight I have Rebecca Hobbs on my immediate left, and then Kathy Martin on her left, two attorneys with the office. And in the first half of the show, we talked about, guys, the different types of elder law issues: estate planning, state administration, long-term care planning, nursing home issues. Kathy, we talked about capacity and powers of attorney and wills. The second half of the show, I want to talk about special needs planning. And that's not necessarily elder law, Rebecca. It could be the person, unfortunately, can be a minor, can indeed be elderly. How does special needs planning and does guardianships play into that?
Yeah, so special needs planning is planning for persons that have disabilities, whether it's a child that was born with a disability, or it's somebody that has had an accident or become disabled, later on in life. And special needs planning is really a specialized planning because when someone is disabled, generally they're on public benefits, such as SSI, Medicaid, and when they're on those benefits, there's very strict limitations when it comes to assets and income. And so when we're planning for somebody that has a disability, we're able to come up with a plan where they can maximize the public benefits that they're receiving and best receive the supports they need, while they're living. And so that's a really important part of special needs planning. The guardianship aspect is also very important because if somebody is born with a disability, upon them turning the age of 18, the parent can no longer make decisions on their behalf with regard to health care and financial decisions without that guardianship being in place. So that's something that we can help the parents with. And then if somebody would become disabled in life and don't have those power of attorney documents in place, then that's where we're also doing a guardianship.
Okay. Now, Kathy, you want to say something? Or
I was going to say we continue with that even with parents and grandparents that we meet with, because if a person with special needs, it's not necessarily a child, with special needs who's on SSI inherits money, they lose their public benefits.
Right.
The most important of which is their health insurance, Medicaid. And it's very important that we work with the family to make sure that they pass money to that person in the best possible way.
Well, I wanted to ask you, that's a good point, and I wanted to also ask you two things, Kathy. One is, and I mentioned guardianship in the first half of the show, but let's say I'm an adult, I'm competent, and I have an accident or become incapacitated. I can't sign a power of attorney to my wife or my brother or my sister. What would you do if you represented my family? What would you have to do?
If there was no way that you had capacity to do that, then we would have to do a guardianship in that case also.
So so the guardianship that Rebecca talked about applies to not only special needs issues, but also an otherwise healthy, competent adult who suddenly becomes incapacitated.
Correct, yes.
Okay. Kathy, also, I know you and I have worked together on many times with the situation of, and you just mentioned it, having a disabled person in the family and the parent or a loved one wants to provide for that person without jeopardizing their governmental benefits. What do you do, or what's some of the stuff you look at in that situation?
The best situation there is for the parent, grandparent, whoever is giving money to a disabled person, is to put it into a supplemental needs trust. And that's a very specialized kind of planning that has to be handled the correct way.
Okay.
It's kind of like if a grandparent's leaving money to grandchildren and they're under 18,
Yeah,
they
right.
have to have a special trust for that.
In
But-
their will.
In their will.
Okay.
But in a supplemental needs trust may be something that they want to set up ahead of time. And Becky does a lot of work with that. But it's something that people need to know about. And it's
Right.
really frustrating when we get in a state and find out that nobody talked to the parent or grandparent about
Who just
this.
died.
Who just died.
Okay.
And then this money is going to go to somebody who really can't have more than $2,000 in their name. Then they have to set up a different kind of trust, which pays back to Medicaid any money that they've gotten.
Okay.
So it's a little bit of planning ahead of time, and we can't emphasize planning enough. Planning is so important in our world that it's really important to think about that.
So our viewers, any viewers out there who have a disabled person in their family, for which our viewer may want to provide an inheritance of some sort or take care of, either during their lifetime, the viewer's lifetime, or after their death,
Right.
need to contact either one of you or both, the office, and start working through that
That's correct.
that
yes.
process. Okay, okay. I teased at the top of the show at halftime about why what special role you folks have, the two of them have, and Rebecca, give us an idea of both of you are attorneys. I'm an attorney, but the two of you have something that I don't. Not only is expertise in elder law, but also you have a designation, and it's called a what?
Yeah, so we have, it's called a CELA designation. It's a Certified Elder Law Attorney designation.
CELA.
Correct.
Okay.
And what that means is that Kathy and myself can hold ourselves out as specializing in elder law and special needs planning because we have met the criteria under that CELA designation, and we have passed the examination and obtained that designation.
But how do you get such a thing? Is it you just mail away for it and you get it in a couple of weeks? Or Kathy's laughing, but
No.
no.
We wish it was anything.
Yeah, but how do you get such a thing? Can
Yeah.
anybody get it?
No, so there are very specific requirements. So one of the requirements is you have to have practiced for a certain amount of years. So practice law for a certain amount of years, and then also practice elder law and special needs for a certain amount of years. And within that time frame, you have to demonstrate that you have handled certain cases in each specific category of elder law to show that you have an understanding of all the various aspects of elder law, which we've been discussing today,
Okay.
as well as special needs planning. So you have to demonstrate that. And
Well, can you hold on
Yeah.
your thought? How many years? 1, 2.
Yep,
How
so
many
it's
years?
5 years that you have to be practicing,
It-
and then
Okay.
3 years of elder law and
Full
special
time.
needs planning. Full
Yeah.
time.
So 5 years, at least 5 years as an attorney, 3 of which you must be full-time have practiced elder law stuff.
Right.
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 Okay, and then what?
Yep.
I know there's more than that, 'cause I saw
Yeah.
you guys struggle through it. Right.
So once you can demonstrate that portion, then there is an application process that you go through. They make sure that you're in good standing with the bars that you practice with, and then you have to sit for an examination, which that was one of the most difficult parts of the certification, was to study for and sit for the examination. And that's a part that a lot of attorneys that even practice elder law have a hard time passing that portion of the certification
I would think so.
process. So very much like a bar exam. It's an all-day exam that specifically focuses on elder law and special needs planning issues.
Okay, Kathy, I know there aren't many CELA attorneys out there, and here we are in Delaware Valley, Philadelphia area. How many are there in Pennsylvania? Any idea?
I think, I haven't counted lately, but I think that last I checked, it was more like between 40 and 45. And there's about 800 attorneys registered in the elder law section of the Pennsylvania Bar. So 800
Wow.
attorneys who say they practice elder law, a very small percentage have passed
Yeah,
the requirements for a CELA.
What's the math? Is that 3% or no? If 800 are in, say they're elder law attorneys, and 40 of them, that's 5%.
Yeah.
I think, is it?
Yeah, it's a
I don't know.
rigorous
Maybe
process.
it's 0.5%, but it's very, very few attorneys in Pennsylvania
Right.
practice elder law, 800-ish, which sounds like a lot, but not in the grand scheme of things.
No,
And
not
of that
attorneys.
800, it's 5%. I just did the math as I'm talking. and very, very few are CELAs, certified elder law attorneys, who've gone through the practice and experience that Kathy, you did, and Rebecca, you did, and then on top of that, passed the test.
Right.
And that's awesome. And folks, we have 2 of them. So we have whatever 2 divided by 40 is, more math is, whatever percentage of that is, we have in our office CELA attorneys. Now, in the last minute or 2, quick fire round, Kathy. Real quick topics, hot topics in elder law that some of our viewers may have run into recently.
One of the biggest ones I've been running into lately is powers of attorney.
Powers of
We
attorney.
talked
Okay.
about that. You can get a power of attorney online,
Don't say that.
and
Yeah.
then people come to the office and say, "It's really funny. The bank won't take this," and
Yeah.
and they really need to understand the person who's signing it. The principal needs to understand what it is, and the person who's the agent needs to understand their job.
Okay.
And it's just it's a big thing. I've had a lot of people calling lately and said, "Well, I'm the agent under my mother's power of attorney, so I want to do a new will for her." That's not one of the jobs.
Yeah, it doesn't work out that way.
Of an agent.
Okay, Rebecca, how about you? In 30 seconds, a hot topic in elder law here in the summer
Yeah.
of 2016.
So along with the power of attorneys, I think that just the public benefits in general, so Medicaid, definitely qualifying for those benefits with nursing homes and veterans benefits. There's been a lot of changes with those 2 areas, and it's really important that the attorney you see is abreast with all those different changes.
Okay,
We're
great.
both accredited before the Veterans Administration.
Oh, you both are?
Yes.
So, okay, there's another certification, folks, that Kathy and Rebecca have that I bet you your attorney doesn't have. Rebecca, Kathy, thank you very much for joining me and for everything you do for the office and
pleasure.
for the members of the community. Folks, tonight you heard Kathy Martin and Rebecca Hobbs talk to you about all kinds of elder law issues, estate planning issues, estate administration issues, capacity issues, nursing home issues, public benefit issues, veterans administration issues, I'm running out of breath, guardianship issues, etc. So I'm willing to bet that most, if not all of them, piqued your interest, and there may be an issue there in your family that you need some more advice about, or about which you need more advice. So please contact Kathy Martin and or Rebecca Hobbs at www.owmlaw.com. Your life, your business, your law firm. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week. Have a great night. Thanks, folks.
There are many reasons people join AAA and renew their membership year after year. In addition to the peace of mind of emergency roadside service, AAA membership includes expert travel planning, exclusive discounts, and more. AAA members also get exclusive Show Your Card and Save discounts at participating retail merchants and can save money on theme park tickets, luggage, and travel accessories at the East Penn Travel Store. Join today and start taking advantage of all AAA East Penn has to offer. And visit us on the web at www.aaa.com.